a tour of my 1.14 base. So this is in a Realms survival world that I play on with some family and friends. This base took a while to make just because, obviously it's not in creative and I don't have world edit since it's a vanilla server, and so this has taken me a while and I thought it would be really cool to do a tour video. And so I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of background before we start. So I'm going to try to make it fast because I know long explanations can get really boring. And so if you guys have ever heard of Survivalcraft, it's a knockoff of Minecraft. It's not as popular, but I think it's still going. And I played that a long time ago. I don't have it anymore. But about 5 or 6 years ago, I was playing it and I downloaded this world by somebody and I found it was sort of one of these. So the blocks are the same size as in Minecraft, and this thing was like 5 by 5 blocks, so it was like really tiny. But basically what it was a wooden structure, and you go in, you go up a ladder through a cave and then into this kind of like terrarium thing where it was like a pond, some grass, a tree, and some animals, and I thought that was just really cool how it was like the outside, but you were actually still inside the glass dome. I'm not exactly sure how I thought of that idea again, but I just thought of it before the realms when I was trying to plan out my base for what I was going to do. I like to keep myself busy and build on a bigger scale, so I thought it would be cool if I upscaled that little build that I saw. And now, since it was like years and years ago, I can't actually find that world that I was looking at, and I don't even have the game anymore. But just from memory, I kind of tried to take it and put my own huge twist on it. So, here we go. So the bottom level is the interior. I always try to do an interior on my base because if you're building a big base, I feel like you should have an interior because it's less boring, and it's, even if it's not like necessarily functional like couches and stuff, it just gives people stuff to look at. And I apologize in advance if it's a little bit laggy because I'm usually running at like 60 frames, but recording it's kind of like cut in half, so like 30. So I apologize in advance for any lagginess, but yeah, so let's get started. So my bedroom, I wanted it to be a little bit different than regular, like, just you go in, small room, bed in the corner. So I decided to kind of make the bed overhang the door, and I thought that would give it a really unique look and feel. And I kind of attached it to these like shelves so you can actually kind of tell that it's held up by those shelves. And so here's the storage. Somebody pranked me by putting a bunch of saddles on my chest, so don't mind that. But this is my parrot Mo. He got a little cove in here for him, and then just my armor and general stuff. And then up here, you might have noticed, is kind of like my trophy case. So I have, that's not actually my first diamond because my first one burned in lava, but it's supposed to be my first diamond. Emerald, I don't know why I have my head here. And then the dragon egg. So that's my bedroom. So moving on, we have the living room. So we have like a table here, one of the new 1.14 lecterns with just like a to-do list on it. Then we have little shelves here that I thought of, and here a little plant in the corner and some bubble columns. Now I saw this TV design on the internet on Google when I was searching up kind of like Minecraft interiors and like TVs. And yeah, I thought it would be really cool to make this because it takes up some space and it fits perfectly in with the living room. I also chose scaffolding to make like a little side table because I thought it looks pretty good. And then in here's my pet room. This is probably one of the rooms I'm the most proud of. So we have my dog Phoenix here and my cat Frost. And then here's a little litter box, leash, and the leash hooks and this little dog house were actually ideas I got from Grian on YouTube, and so I thought I'd take that idea. I did kind of change up the dog house, like the different wood and the sandstone, and here I put glowstone under the leaves, so I kind of put my own twist on it. I also came up with this cool idea of the composter for the food bin and then the water, same with the cat. They have little beds. I also put a bed over here because in 1.14 cats love to sleep on beds. and I made banners for each of them. Then we have a little cat jungle gym. So that's the pet room. Over here, it's just my, super smelter, auto smelter, whatever you want to call it. It's just a little bit of an industrial room. All the stuff I have in there. Over here, we have the kitchen. And another reason I love interiors is because it's fun to watch people exploring it, and they try to figure out, okay, what's this supposed to be? Because like it's different in Minecraft, and you just have to kind of use your creativity to make it look like real life. Like these are kind of like, the grill or whatever, the stove tops, and then these kind of look like little soda cans, the cabinets. I think one thing that they should add to Minecraft that would be really cool is being able to rotate blocks in vanilla. So like, I think what would look really awesome here is if you put 2 hoppers that are rotated upside down to look like a vent. I think that would be really unique. And so we have a little kitchen table, light there, a couple seats, like 2 cutting boards here, and then a working fridge that actually dispenses out stuff when you hit the button. Now over here we have the guest room. So, just a chest, furnace, crafting table, and then like a couple beds in the floor here. Once again, I tried to do something a little bit more unique to break up just the generic style of normal bedrooms. In here is my AFK fishing farm. And then down here what we have that's kind of cool is I actually paid somebody else in the server a couple diamonds to build this because I was so caught up in building my base that I didn't really have time for anything extra to build. And so what this is basically is, I don't know if I have anything that I really can throw away in here, but like you take whatever you need to throw away, you kind of dump it into the chest, and you take out of it, and then it just starts dispensing those items into the lava, so it's like a trash can. And if you open it, it actually stops dispensing stuff, and it's kind of like a safety feature in case, like you put something you didn't want in there. And so I do a bunch of redstone myself, but like I said, I was just so focused that I paid somebody else to build this for me. But a couple realms ago, I actually built a huge house that had just a bunch of redstone in it. So I do a lot of it myself, but I personally like building more because I'm much better at building than I am at redstone. But this is my little office. We have little drawers and a little plant pot here. This computer was actually also from Grian. It's just a trick with pistons and armor stands, and I can include the link to his video on that. This is in the description. And then I have some bookshelves here. And here is my enchantment room, just pretty basic, And so that is actually all. Oh, wait, we have the bathroom still. This is not my best bathroom, but we kind of had to work with a tight space, just like a towel, a very horrible shower. I'd usually use redstone, but like I said, very tiny space, and the outside's right behind there. So then a little tripwire hook to make it look like a sink faucet, and the toilet. The next level is just storage. So yeah, it's just a bunch of chests that hold my stuff. And then back here is actually just a little secret room with chests in it. And I keep, my best enchanted books in here, like mending and stuff like that. And you can actually lock your friends out of it, like that. Let me turn my volume down a bit so that it doesn't. Okay, I'll just turn that all the way down. So up here we have my cave level. So no mining. I made it look like you were actually kind of coming up the waterfall into a cave, and obviously this is on a much smaller scale, so all the ores are much closer together. We have a nether portal kind of hidden back here. You kind of walk through the cave, and it's sort of like a big loop around, but you can come up here, and then up to here, and you have this kind of like little cove that you can look up into this mountain here. So if you go up the waterfall more, this is actually the coolest part of the base. You kind of come out here. The iron bars are here to stop fish from dying, because actually what they would do is they'd come from the ocean up the waterfall through here and end up dying in my base. So that was fun, but I figured out a way to fix that. Actually, somebody else in their server actually suggested that I use iron bars, and I thought that was a great idea, so that's what I did. And then down here, I'll start with the mesa over here. So all of these biomes that I made kind of had their own challenge. The mesas, I guess, was building this mesa kind of mountain plateau because of the room, and I still wanted some room to walk around, but I still needed to put the kind of mine shaft that I simulated on the inside. So this is kind of like a mini version of the mesa mine shafts that they have, and like I said, everything's much closer together. Because of the space restriction, I probably should have built my base bigger, but this is the space that we had to work with, because I really didn't want to make it too close to everybody else's base, because the other people built their base really close to mine, so I didn't want to intrude on their space. So we got some coal over here, and over here we have a little chest. I tried to also kind of simulate the loot that you get from the chests in these environments. And so we have another chest over here, diamonds, and just a little cove over there. And then up here we have another chest. Down here we just have some cactuses and stuff like you get in the mesa. Now this is the plains one, and I think the most challenging part about this was still making it feel kind of like the plains, sort of like a forest, I guess, because this is the only part that's really open. And also using the space wisely. That you'll hear that it was the majority of my challenges for this base was the space management, but you actually get to the treehouse through this little ladder on the back of the log. And here we have a stack of kind of the new features. We have a dragon here. This dragon head's name is actually David. Do not ask about the story, but yep, so you can turn him off if you want, but there's David. This was another idea from Green to make it look like a barrel. Before 1.14, that was a really cool idea. It still is, but I mean, now we have actual barrels. I'm not too fond of the barrels now, so I think this is still a really cool idea. So I still use that, and then we have a little like brewing stand and stuff over here, and we have trapdoors here. And then on the podcast on Spotify, The Spawn Chunks by Pixel Riffs and Joel Duggins, I actually heard that a cool idea that in 1.13 and 14, people were actually using dead coral to decorate stuff, and I thought that would be a really cool fit for over here, because we have a bunch of this brown, and then you break it up with kind of like the acacia logs and this little table here, and using a dead fire coral fan to decorate the jukebox. I thought that was a nice idea. I also really love the look of the lanterns. That's why that's kind of our main lighting feature for the treehouse. And so next we're moving on to the desert biome. Now this temple, the hardest thing about the desert was actually making the temple a decent size while not breaking up the landscape too much. I think my big goal for this base was to improve on terraforming, and I think I did that a bunch, and I think I'm much better than I used to be with terraforming, because it really challenged me, to make stuff look natural, fitting it in the space. And yeah, I used to be really bad at making stuff look natural, because I'm kind of like a perfectionist, so I kind of like things ordered and neat. But this has helped me really grow as a builder doing this base. And so you come in the desert temple over here, and it's kind of, I tried to make everything look sort of like vanilla, so you can tell, they modeled this after a, vanilla desert temple, but I wanted it to also, put my own twist on it. So you have the little staircases like they have in desert temples on the sides, and then down here, don't worry, there is no TNT. I wouldn't do that, obviously, but I have a little pressure plate here, once again, simulating the loot that a desert temple would have in it. The gunpowder was very hard for me to give up for these chests because of how much gunpowder you need for rockets. But that's that. And then you kind of have, like vanilla, you have these little kind of entrances on the sides. And so I think another hard thing was making the patterns with only 2 blocks on this side actually look good, and not just like, you know, checkerboard pattern. And on these sides it's a little bit bigger. But that's that. And then I think this is my favorite biome that I built. I have some fish here. This one's my favorite, this blue and green one. That's the queen angelfish. But this is my favorite biome. It definitely took probably the most work because of, you know, flying to an ocean, getting all this water to be source blocks and everything. And then, you know, the scenario with the fish dying, because what would happen is I used to have the waterfall like right in these 2 blocks. What they'd do is they'd swim up, fall onto the rocks and die, or swim up through into my base and die. So I lost a lot of awesome fish that way. But I've kind of resolved the problem, and now we have a shipwreck. So what I did was I tried to make it look sort of like vanilla, but also look dilapidated and old, like this. So it's kind of, you know, looks broken down and stuff, and I really like that touch. Like, this is kind of, you know, a little bit dipped down. This trapdoor makes it look like there's sort of a hole there, or a board that was flipped up. Different kind of wood, you know, kind of makes it look like it rotted, or so to say. And this kind of makes it look like a board kind of dropped down. And if you actually go through here, you can actually swim out this hole, which I think is a cool thing. And it's kind of half a shipwreck. First of all, once again, space. So I think the hardest thing about this one was getting all the materials and fish problems. Called it my fish crisis for a while until I solved it. But yeah, that was probably the hardest about this place. I think it turned out to be my favorite, all the hard work that I put into it. And then if you come down here, there's this little, like, if you look at the vanilla shipwrecks, they kind of have those little, like, desk things in them. I didn't put a door in because it kind of made it look bad, because it makes, you know, it takes out the water. That's something that people still use to get air, because they can't use torches anymore. And I didn't like the way it looked, so I didn't use a door. But if you swim over here, we have actually a buried treasure map, some paper. Hang on, I don't want to drown. That would be bad. You come over here, and if you can actually swim around here and up into this little place, so you can look at this chest. Got a bottle of enchanting and all that good stuff. So that is kind of my 1.14 base in the realms. And yeah, so this was a very challenging build. It took me a long time, once again, especially to build this dome, because you don't even want to know how many trips to the desert that took. That was a lot, and that was before we had Elytras too, so, you know, it'd take me the better part of a Minecraft day to get there, and then I'd have to, you know, we didn't have shulker boxes, so I had to carry it all back, and then go back, and then the smelting power and all that coal. Yeah, that took a long time, but around here, we just fly over it, and you get a top view. This is kind of what it looks like from the top. I think it's a really cool kind of bird's eye view. So you have the treehouse, desert temple, shipwreck, and abandoned mine shaft. It's nice to add a little attraction to each side, like a little thing that's like featured, so like the temple and the shipwreck, because otherwise it would be pretty boring with just the land. And so yeah, I thought that was a really good idea to make one thing in each quarter, and this is definitely what I'd probably call a successful build. I mean, maybe not the time it took. I might have been able to cut that down a bit, but, you know, busy schedules and all that, so I didn't really have ample time to work on this, or I probably would have got it done much faster. But I did actually complete it pretty well, and back here I actually had to do a lot of terraforming as well, because I had to extend this land and kind of make that hill look natural. once again, not having a smooth brush with World Edit, because that's it makes you very spoiled when you have brushes that smooth stuff out and whatnot like that. You can get rid of these posts are just for tying horses up, so ignore those. But yeah, this is my 1.14 realm space. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, be sure to like it. If you didn't like it, you can dislike it, that's okay, and I'll try to improve my videos. So like, dislike, if you really loved it, then please subscribe and, hit the bell and share it with people. But yeah, that was my 1.14 Realm Space Tour. Hope you guys liked it, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!